All right, this is take two because the first one took way too fucking long. But essentially, we got our stuff in that we ordered. We got connectors. We got 12 gauge wire, 10 gauge wire. I got my power probe, which I absolutely love to test panels before we run anything. And the best part about this setup is that I'm going to be able to wire everything up, and I'm going to be able to power up these relays and test every single one to make sure that they're going to function like they would. So essentially, I'm going to be using this like a trigger for the relay, and then we're just going to head and add, we're going to put a test light with gator clips from here to a ground, and we're just going to be checking to see how, if we got power flowing properly through the relay before we actually hook everything up. So this is going to be kind of bench tested, not the MSD box. The MSD box has already been tested. The coil is new, and we're going to be able to make sure that our relays are going to power up properly per what we're going to be doing, and then from there we can further check it once we wire it into our switch panel, and then it gets the blessing and everything gets hooked up and finalized. So you could see I got the bus bar with the lugs on the end, and the reason for that is I'm going to be running 0 gauge wire into the car so that I can run the MSD box into this lug. Now, MSD typically would tell you to run this box to the battery, and the reason for that, from my understanding, is to, one, isolate it from any draw possible, because it could make it sluggish. But I did call MSD and told them what I was planning on doing, and they said that the 0 gauge wire should supply sufficient power to the MSD box. Now, we are running a bus bar off of this, but then also keep in mind we are going directly to this with a nice inline fuse. So it's going to be somewhere more like here by the time I get the type of fuse that I want to put in there. We're going to have an inline fuse there, and this is going to go to our ground, and then this is for our relay. We are going to put a relay on this end. Actually, I think these are the coil wires. It's going to be this one. The wiring's in the back. Let's see. Black, orange, coil. So yeah, those are coil, and the red and the white. Red is to switch 12 volts, and the white is to points amplifier. So we don't need that. We just need the red one. This is for our switched part. So this is going to go to one of the relays. I believe there's a built-in relay on the MSD, but since we are running it through a different trigger, it's just easier to run it through a relay and have an inline fuse that's already built into it. It doesn't hurt anything unless the relay goes bad, which you can always test a relay. It's just simple. So that's my game plan. This is what I got going on, and hopefully this weekend we can fire it back up at some point. So I got all weekend to do this. It's going to be hotter than hell, but you know what? It's kind of a good project to do when it's hot, because I can take breaks and it's going to be easy enough to follow and undo stuff. So for now, I'm done. I'm going to go out in the garage and clean up and organize, because I kind of took out a bunch of interior stuff out of it, and it's kind of a mess, but I need to clean a couple things out and plan a couple things in there as well. But this is it. And one last thing, I love this soldering iron I bought from Matco. I am going to be doing a couple of solder joints. I got shrink tubing, I got everything. Some people are for soldering, some people are not. It's got to be done properly. You have to solder the wire properly, and you also have to wind the wire properly. A lot of guys will twist it and solder it. That's not right. You have to intertwine the wires right, and you have to get the joint hot for the solder to get sucked through, much like sweat and pipe. You're not pushing the solder into the joint. The heat is pulling the solder into the joint. That's how it works. At least that's what I've been told. But we got some good tools to make everything happen and everything here. My previous experience with wiring a car, I did a 57 pretty much top to bottom at my old shop for my boss at the time, and it had an LS swap that was wired like shit. and we relocated the ECU and everything underneath the dash to hide everything, and we bought a generic LS harness kit that we modified, and then I also wired the car front to back on a 21 fused panel with relays and everything. So this tool allowed me to check all the circuits and everything to put power to it and check the power that we were putting to it. As you can see, it's 12 to 24 volts. It says on there. It'll tell you if you're on the ground or on a power, and it'll also tell you the readout and all that stuff. It's a really good tool to have. Real nice to have. So, and along with a test light, you know, just to check, we got all our basics covered. So, the next step will be to wire stuff up and show it to you in the car once we get there. So, share, like, subscribe, follow along. As always, you can follow me on Instagram as Copper Cutlass, and we'll see you guys around.